The Margaret Cavendish Performance Project has offered everyone involved, including myself, many different learning experiences. Problem solving, creative use of resources, peer learning and team skills development have all been to the fore. By experimenting, we've all learned a great deal. Cavendish's plays' lack of recorded performance history have offered us the incentive and the freedom to experiment. We've not been afraid to take risks, and we've had some real successes.
You know you are performing work that has never been performed before, especially in public. It's never been filmed before. So for these students who are studying a text, it's a valuable opportunity for them.
Many people have read it over the centuries, I'm sure, but no one's ever actually got up and said these words and discovered what it feels like to say these words while looking another human being in the eyes.
Partly the reason that I kept coming back is for experience for myself, to take what I'd done the year before and learn from it, and to get more experience behind the camera.
There was no point of reference, so we could let our imaginations go, and there were some great scenes came out of that.
It offers opportunities to have a go at technical things like lighting and sound and camera, which you might not have the opportunity to do, particularly if you come from other courses that aren't theatre, film and television.
In televisual terms alone, I've explored black box, studio drama production, both single and multi-camera, film stage production and historic location filming. It's exciting to hear that some students have perceived the project as a bridge to a professional career.
We were commissioned to work for someone. We offered our services and we were picked to do these roles at audition.
Working on the Cavendish projects is almost like working in a semi-professional environment. You have a client, you have an audience, you've got a definite purpose for making the video, and you have to take on a lot of responsibility, especially as director and producer. You have to take on a lot of responsibility, far more than you would in a student play. But the greatest thing about it is you have got the room to experiment, and it's great that Gweno gives you the room to experiment and come up with new ideas, something that under commercial constraints you might not have.
So as an independent producer, so we had a budget, we had a time schedule, we had to meet the criteria of what was needed. So that's how it was professional, because when you study at university, you can, within reason, you sort of do what you want. But to actually say, we want to play like this and we want to perform this way and these are the locations, it's a different kettle of fish altogether.
Developing new insights into Margaret Cavendish's plays is an integral part of my production process. I find that students value highly the creative freedom and pioneering opportunity to test out new texts and explore their performance potential, sometimes in defiance of critical opinion.
It was really nice to get some work that we'd never seen anybody else do before, so it was kind of like approaching it fresh. We could put all our own interpretation, we could make them our own basically, and there's something quite satisfying about that.
It was exciting first coming to the project and realising that there were these texts which had been untouched for hundreds of years, and knowing that we were actually sort of embarking on something new, and we had sort of just a clean canvas to start fresh with.
And after a while, once we kind of got to know the text a bit more and became a bit more confident with them, we could really make them quite good, we thought.
One of the most challenging aspects of producing Cavendish's plays is the length of some of the speeches. Indeed, in the past, some critics have suggested that the plays are unperformable precisely because of those long speeches. I beg to differ. In performance, we've experimented with a range of options. We've performed the speeches in their entirety, and we've worked with cut versions.
Cavendish's pieces were written for the stage, and we were trying to translate them onto screen, which was always going to be difficult considering they were so heavily dialogue-based.
Interestingly, some of the actors who've performed these speeches have found that these extended, richly metaphorical sequences have offered them performance opportunities that they've really valued.
When you have this really long spiel, it's easy to just learn it and say it kind of thing, but I was really trying to make sure I understood what it was actually saying and make sure that I understood how it related to Lady Sans Perelle as well, because obviously a lot of the stuff she was saying was actually very, very pertinent to herself.
And you can see that Cavendish takes a lot of pleasure in writing what she does, and that's why she's sort of written at such length on certain issues.
In Shakespeare and Jonson, things like that, the women's speeches aren't so long. The parts are not so big. So Cavendish writes big women's parts. The language is very complex, so you've got to learn these huge monologues with this very complex language, and it takes a lot of preparation work.
You can just sort of feel her really trying to spill all her thoughts out onto the page.
Our production experience suggests that Cavendish's plays offer many dramatic opportunities. Extravagance, rich characterisation, intensity of emotion and comedy. We've been delighted and moved by many scenes in rehearsal and in performance.
There was one particular performance by Liz when she was doing Lady Conversation. We were filming in Jacob's Well and we'd had a terrible time. There was workmen outside, there were planes going over, there were football fans in the street. We'd had a shocking time. But one particular performance, Liz gave a very long speech, which is not to be unexpected in Margaret Cavendish. Anybody who knows about them knows these long speeches. And the crew broke out into spontaneous applause when she finished. It was absolutely incredible experience.